Welcome English Bay to the Image 45 dual head auger filler. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to go ahead and show you the Allen Bradley panel view, so we can kind of just go over the programming of it. This is your, first of all, this is your emergency stop to the left. This is your conveyor controller for off-on. Over here is your vibration adjustment. There's a vibrator under each one of these fill stations, and you can adjust the level of the vibrator, how much intensity you want it to have. This is your conveyor speed controller to the right-hand side, how fast you want the conveyor to go. This is your Allen Bradley panel view. Through the panel view, you're going to set up all your programs. You have F keys, the function keys up here, and then you have your numbers, of course, and then your arrows. These are basically your enter buttons and your right, left, up, and down. The first thing I'm going to show you is the setup. F7 is setup. That's your function key down here. Hit F7, and you have two different controls here. One is your low level delay. This is for your vibrators, your tuning forks up here. How long do you want them to delay once they're satisfied? That's this right here. Secondly is your max agitate time. So if you had your agitation blade, which sweeps through all the hopper, in continuous mode, and you walked away for lunch and it was on for say 0.1 minutes without a fill, the machine will shut down. So you can adjust that to where you want. We're going to exit out of there, F8. We're going to go right into manual operation. That's F3. F3 gets you to manual ops. Manual ops, you can jog your auger. So at the end of the day, if you want to have some product left in there, you can turn the auger itself. That's F1 for head 1. So I'm going to hit F1 and show you the auger's jogging. We're emptying our hopper right now. F3 is head 2. You can jog your auger and turn your agitation blade on and turn your vibrator on. What you're going to do is you're going to move this little cursor here. There's a cursor to the left-hand side here. And you're going to use these arrows down here to move the cursor. So I'm going to go to the left. I'm pushing to the left. I can move it wherever I want. I move it to the agitation. Once you get to where you want, you can go up or down on the arrows. So if I'm going to go down right now to go with fill. If one more would be run. Say the agitation would run. This is the blade. Okay. I'm going to go up to with fill. I'm going to go to the right now to head 1 again and show you the vibration turns on. That's all the time in manual ops. This is with fill. So right now if I hit F1, I'm going to go ahead and jog my auger, turn the blade on, and vibrate. And I can just hold that button in for as long as I want in manual operation. You can do that with head 1 or head 2. You can actually control the speed of the auger. Right now we're at 900 RPM. Between 600 and 900 is what you're going to be running in. We have it at 900 for you. Down here to the bottom left is your Y duct. So your Y duct is over here. We have it kind of set up here on a frame. Just to kind of show you that it's operating correctly, we're going to go ahead and hit F5. That's if head 1's calling for products, it switches over. That's if head 2, so head 1, head 2, and if nothing's calling, it will go right to the center. So that's your Y duct operation. You can use it in manual ops or of course automatic operation. Down below here, F8 is the exit out of here, but F4 is your stops. It's not stop, it's your stops. So these index cylinders here, if you're setting them up in the beginning of the day, and I see you have the short container in here now, or if you have the taller container, you can basically sit here and play with these things. This is your round. This is your point. The round is what lines up the container underneath the filler. The point is what comes out to stop the container from going through this container and moving this one down. So when you set it up, you're going to be indexing 2 of these at a time because it's a dual head. One will be filled, one won't be filled. There'll be containers in between here. You don't want to wait for these to get all the way down here, so you might have 2, 2, 2, and then 2 here. The first one will be for head 1, the second one will be for head 2, but you're going to be indexing 2 at a time. So your delays in here, you're going to need to set up for your 2 different containers. Once you have it set up in your recipe, you're going to be ready to rock and roll. Let's go out of here and we're going to hit F8 exit. And we're going to go right into recipe. That's F5. Your recipe is, you can navigate again with these arrow keys. right at the top here, that's the recipe number 4. You can name your recipe, 2 pound number 1. You can put whatever weight you're looking for. It only still goes by turns, but you can put the weight if you want. Turns, right now we have 5 turns. So when you set it up, you can start by trying out 5 turns, see if it gets to your weight. If it doesn't, let's just say you're half of your weight, you'd go to 10 turns. And again, how to change that, you navigate with your arrows to get the cursor in front of turns. You enter however many turns you want. So if we want to go 10, we go right down to 10, and we're going to go ahead and switch it, 10. This is your enter key down here. I've entered in 10, I've just changed my turns. I'm going to go back to 5 because I like starting with 5. All right, so we're going to have 5. We're at our recipe number, excuse me for that blurriness. We've named it, we put a weight in there that we're looking for, even though we're not doing it by weight, it's by revolutions. We have our motor RPM in there. We're going to leave it at 900. If that does not work for you, if you're blowing through it, you can go to 600 or anywhere in between. Your accel time, that's how fast you want your servo motor to ramp up. We like to put that at 0.1, but you can put it a little slower if you want to. We recommend 0.1 seconds to ramp up. Vibration is going to be either off, with fill, or continuous. However you want to set that in your recipe. Right now it's with fill. Agitation is with fill. That can go continuous or off, but you got to have it on at least with fill. I'm going to recommend with fill for your product. Vibration time, how long do you want the vibration to be on after you fill it? Right now we have half a second. You can turn it to 0 if you want, or up a little bit. Your transfer time and delay after fill delay. These are the 2 times you're going to be playing with your containers. Right now we have 3/4 of a second for the container to transfer. We have a 1 1/4 seconds for the delay after fill. Once you start playing with these, you'll see what you're going to need. I have it at 0.75 and 1.25. I don't have enough containers here to set it up for you, but it's going to be relatively simple. Once you have it set up in there, it'll be in your recipe. You won't have to change it ever after that. So that's your recipe. We're going to exit out of here. We're going to go to F7 exit. You can select your recipe wherever you want. Right now we're in the run mode, but I'm going to go ahead and exit out of there and go show you. Okay, so F1 automatic mode. We're in the run mode now. Right now I picked recipe 4 for both fillers. We got 5 turns a piece for each filler. F5 and F6. If you want a little bit more, a little bit less, you can do that. You can see right now we're at 5.1 or 5.2. It'll kind of leave it in there. It won't save it in the recipe, but if you're running during the course of a day and you just need a little more, you can just have the operator hit F6 or a little less F5. You can stop the operation by hitting F1. You can exit out of there, or you can change the recipe all on the fly. You don't have to stop the machine or anything like that. So again, right now we're at recipe 4. We'll leave the conveyor off. But basically, once your photo eye down here, this is your photo eye. We have it in the front of the conveyor because we like to have a nice backup of containers. Once we put our hand in front of it, you can see our photo eye is made. The light's made. It's seeing containers in the line. It's filling, it's agitating, it's vibrating, and we're indexing. And I took my hand away, so we're not making the eye. The filler stops and waits, and says waiting. When it's waiting, it's basically waiting for a container to show up to that photo eye. That is basically the program. We're all through the program right now. We're going to exit out of there. And we're going to go ahead and real quickly, while we're on wiring and electrical, we'll go over some more wiring and electrical, then I'll do mechanical with you. So up here is your level control. These are your little sensor vibrating forks. They're vibrating right now. Once I touch them, you can hear it just calls for the product there. And I'll show you that again. So I'm going to grab the forks. It's calling for product, so we're switching. And it's calling for product and we're switching. That's simple. Up top is your servo motor. Let's go back to some more controls in the back. Actually, on the side here, this is your cord coming out for your 223 phase. This is your air line that you're going to bring air to. Right now we're set at, I think, 20 PSI or something like that. These are your solenoid valves coming into the box. This box right here is where you're going to hook into for the level controls. It's 20 and 21 is what you'd bring from if you're bringing a screw conveyor, or if you're bringing you know, anything else. That 20 and 21 is what comes over to that box right up there. In the back here is the rest of your wiring. A couple things here. You got your Ultra 3000 servo controls. When they're running perfectly, you're going to see that little, I don't know if you can see in the video camera or not, but that little line's going to be going through. This is your main brains right here. This is your Micrologix 1500. All your wires are coming in here. This is what's doing all the thinking. You'll see all your inputs and outputs and which one's lighting up and which one's not back over here. If there's ever a problem, we're going to probably have you go to that first to check, see if anything's going on with that. This is your conveyor controller. It's for your conveyor. Nothing really got to touch with that. This is your power supply. Nothing really to touch with that either. There's some fuses in here. Over this side, let's see what else. Pretty much that is it. Your main power is going to come all the way down here to the box underneath the base. You can see you have your main power coming into there. Again, we wired it up for you, so you just got to bring it outside. But that's your little terminal strip for the power. Over here, these are your agitation contactors and overloads. So if your agitation blade were to trip out, you can just come back here and see if the trip status is gold, and then reset it if it has tripped out. It could trip out if you get product packing up or you're running it continuously, which again we recommend with fill. But if you did it by accident and the blade were to pack up, it'll trip out. And that is pretty much it back here. Okay, that's it with wiring. Now I've got about 3 more minutes here to go over some mechanical stuff with you. So to go over the names of things, this is your servo motor. This is your agitation motor and gear reducer. There's 2 sprockets that drive a chain, which drives your blade. Nothing really to do except keep that little idler greased up. And then there's oil in this reducer. You don't really have to check that for about a year or so. There is special oil for that, which is in the manual. When I say your agitation, I mean the blade right here. The servo has a coupling that drives a few shafts down to this auger shaft. Let me go ahead and hit manual operation and jog the auger here. Okay, so this is your auger shaft. You can see right here there's a slot in it. You can just loosen this bolt up through the inspection door and raise and lower your auger. So if you had for any reason this move or the auger need to be lower or higher, you want to change it from this position, not anywhere else. The auger, this is your funnel. The auger goes down through it. Your auger wants to be right at the bottom of this lip, but not touching. There's a lip on the bottom of this. In fact, I have one off of here, so I can kind of show you here. There's a lip inside there. The auger wants to go right down to the bottom, almost touching, but not quite. There are some drip washers which go on the bottom of the auger. I'm going to give you a couple of various sizes. And you can kind of play with however your product is being processed at that time, if you need a drip washer or not. This is your hopper cover. This is your infeed duct. We're going to give you the wide duct. You're going to need some neoprene to connect it, maybe some hose clamps. This is your hopper bowl. You have some quick release clamps here. I got about 1.5 minutes left, so I'm going to kind of rush through this. Got some quick release clamps which take the hopper off. You're going to take the hopper off, you're going to loosen this bolt up right here. This bolt takes down the L bracket and the coupling. You pull the whole hopper down. Don't touch these bolts, only touch this bolt right here. It self-aligns with some pins right in the back here. This support, this is the coupling, the L bracket and the hopper support. The coupling holds your funnel, and it holds the bottom of your hopper with these 6 bolts in there. To raise and lower the head, these heads, because right now we have the small container, you want to raise it up. For the larger container, you're going to unloosen or loosen this, untighten this set screw, and then right from down here, you're going to jack it up just like you jack a car up, turn it to the right, and it raises up the whole head. Once you're done with raising it up, tighten that right back up, and you're ready to go. Over here is your conveyor motor. It's an inline DC motor. The shaft goes right all the way through to a bearing on the other side. Really, there's nothing you have to touch with this. With your conveyor, these are the guide rails. These are the guide rails. These are the supports. Just loosen these up, move the guide rails in and out. To move in and out the index cylinders, you can basically just take these little bolts and loosen them up. Thank you very much. Give us a call if you have any questions. Thank you.